Yo, Jonathan here. It's been a minute. It's been a long 4 weeks, and I didn't want to make this video at the low point of everything. Typically, if I'm sick or something's not right or I'm not feeling great, I'd much rather not talk about it, put my head down and push through and move on to the next. But in this case, things just got a little more serious. In no way, shape, or form is this meant to be a poor me video or anything like that. More so for anyone that's reached out, for those who are asking, hey, where's the iPhone 14 coverage? For brands, it's more of a, hey, this is what happened and why it's been radio silent. The condensed version is I've been dealing with shingles for the past month plus, and I thought it seemed like I caught it early enough and had it on my head and above my eye and on my face, but I was able to get on antivirals for about 2 weeks and things seemed like they were on the mend and heading in the right direction, and then kind of just took a twist. The Friday before Labor Day, I noticed some blur in my eye and didn't really think too much of it. It was kind of there Saturday as well, but then Sunday, the day before Labor Day, I woke up and it was just like straight blur, like someone slapped Vaseline over my entire right eye, which freaked me out. To make things more challenging, the day before Labor Day made things just tremendously harder trying to get in touch or to get seen by anybody. Fortunately, I was able to find an eye doctor and get in and get checked out, but the initial diagnosis was pretty grim. It was pretty much just a straight, you have a pretty substantial defect over the middle of your cornea, which is probably causing that blur. So internally, I'm freaking out thinking why, how, things were fine a few days ago. And I think the more terrifying part was the assessment that there's a good chance that you're just gonna have to live with this forever. So I think that kind of just shook me upside down for a minute. And I think the uncertainty was probably the scariest part, to where it's not like, hey, something's wrong if you do this or if you wait this long, things are going to get better. It was just such a, this is how it is, and there's a really good chance that it's going to stay this way. The silver lining of that day, I think, was being able to get that additional dose of antivirals, and in this case, an antiviral gel for the eye, because the nightmare point beyond just all that already is that things could get even worse. Ultimately, what ended up happening is shingles got into the eye and ended up creating a lesion or wound that was multiple layers deep into the cornea. So the first uphill battle was, one, just trying to get things to even start healing. The tricky part there is healing also means scarring, which is what we don't want in this case, because if it scars over, that's where you run into the risk of having to deal with it for the rest of your life. I think the toughest part of this is just the mental aspect, because one, it's something that is just constantly present in your everyday, every second of every waking moment, to where it's just there front and center and you can't escape it. And then at the same time, it's like you're not supposed to stress out or worry or be scared, because that's gonna aggravate things and push them in the direction you don't want to go. So trying to stay calm and positive, I think, was probably the biggest challenge. For me, I was actually really excited to get tech videos out more consistently. I obviously took a giant step back to get things where they are now in terms of the music side of things, but I was ultimately content, fulfilled, happy there, and really was just excited at the idea of things going full circle from that into tech. And then life was like, nah, dude, you got to sit down. To ice the cake, it was also right smack in the middle of the iPhone 14 event, so I was definitely sad to not be covering it. I didn't even watch the event. But at the same time, it's also a giant shake and a perspective shift of, hey, maybe the stuff that we stress about on the daily isn't that big of a deal compared to things like health. So from there, I kind of just shut everything down and had to just really relentlessly go at trying everything I possibly could do to get to that next step. At this point, the inflammation is down. It hasn't spread or got worse, which is great. The blur is still there, which is frustrating. And I think the byproduct of that is, because even though one eye is fine, it makes it so like they're not talking to each other. And there's moments where it just seems like nothing is in focus, which is probably the most challenging part physically and mentally. As frustrating as that is, at least it is a step in the right direction. And because it has started to heal, that at least opens up the next chance of integrating steroid eye drops, which are supposed to combat the healing in a way where it's supposed to minimize the scarring and ultimately help minimize that blur. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. By no means out of the woods, but also in much better spirits than I was, because that initial assessment really just freaked me out. And from here on out, I think the thing is I want to make videos, and it's not necessarily from a place of feeling the pressure of having to make videos. I just internally want to make videos at the same time, and I've been excited with tech, and I've been excited to share that. So just wanted to give a heads up on what's been going on, what to expect. Hopefully you should see videos out of me, and I think you can expect a range of things I just want to cover, things I'm excited about, things that I'm catching up on because I've been gone for a minute, but ultimately just wanted to give an update, say, hey, this is what's going on. I am excited to be back. As challenging as this is, I'm also optimistic to be back. So thank you guys, as always, for supporting. If you guys want to help out the channel, feel free to use that super thanks button, or honestly, just go watch the video I did on spatial audio Dolby Atmos stat setup, which I was really proud of. And honestly, that was a huge part of why I was so excited to get back into tech until this happened. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is Jonathan, and I'll catch you guys later.